on first? What's on second? I don't know. It's on third.
You know the guy's name in the baseball game?
Yes.
Well, go ahead. Who's on first?
Yes.
I mean the guy's name.
Who?
The guy playing first.
Who?
The guy playing first base.
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who is on first?
What are you asking me for? I don't know.
All right, that was just a short clip of Abbott and Costello's famous Who's on First stand-up routine. And while it is funny, it does point out an important aspect of sports that is often overlooked by its spectators: communication. I know this because I played softball for 18 seasons growing up, and I realized that verbal and nonverbal communication is key to achieving a good softball team. This keeps a team from creating a similar yet much more frustrating situation to the one that we just watched. Playing the position of catcher for 18 seasons brought me to the same realization as James and Robert Arkin, who, in their article published in Association for Psychological Science, determined that a catcher is similar to a leader of a team. This is because the catcher is responsible for relaying all the important information to the rest of her teammates. This is because she is the only player on the field that can see the entire field. And so she watches for potential plays and identifies those plays and informs her teammates of what to do. She also watches the other team between each play, looking for potential bases that could be stolen. Any of y'all know what that means? Don't worry, it was a trick question, because it depends on what team you're on. For each team, there is a different signal or gesture, and the speaker, our textbook, defines a gesture as a, quote, physical movement used to convey a message, end quote. And one of the most common forms of communication in a softball game is gestures given by coaches. This normally occurs while the team is playing offense or batting. The offensive players look to their coaches for gestures telling them what to do. When a batter is up at the plate, they look to their coach telling them what kind of swing to take, whether it's to bunt, whether it's to watch the ball go by or to take a pitch, or to swing away. Once the batter reaches the base, they turn into a runner. Runners also look at the coach, usually that is on the third base line, and the coach will tell them whether or not to keep running after they've hit it or during the next pitch if they should steal. The communication between the runner and the third base coach is very important because a runner cannot be concerned with where the ball is, but the coach should, and should be able to tell whether or not that runner would be able to make it to the next base safely. But out of all the communication that occurs in a softball game, the most important communication involves the pitcher and the catcher. This is because they are the two defensive players that are actively involved in every play. The coach, the catcher, and the pitcher communicate with hand gestures. But Laura Smith, an assistant editor at Coaching Management, notes that college coaches recommend letting catchers call pitches starting at an early age. This is for a multiple number of reasons. First of which is that a catcher is in a better position to call, and the second is that a catcher can adjust to the changing strike zone of an umpire. To call a pitch, a catcher will usually put her hands between her legs and throw down a series of numbers. For example, 1, 2 could mean throw a curveball to the back right corner of the plate. Or at the same time, it could mean throw a fastball to the left side of the plate. But just as important as the signal itself is the position of the hand signal. It needs to be placed where the other team and the other team's coaches cannot see the ball. Also, tapping a specific part of the leg can determine where a pitch needs to go. So if I were to throw down the number 1 and then tap the left side of my leg, that could mean throw a curveball to the left side of the plate. And there is no set signal for any pitch, so it is up to the communication between a pitcher and a catcher to determine which signal goes with which pitch. Now, before I conclude, I want you all to close your eyes and imagine trying to play catch without any cues from your throwing partner. You can't, can you? That's how vital communication is in softball or any team sport. So let's review the different interactions we discussed. The catcher's duty to provide insight to the entire team, nonverbal signals between coaches, batters, and base runners, and the importance of a strong relationship and understanding between the pitcher and the catcher. Now, if these three interactions are utilized, then the team does not have to worry about a comedy of errors similar to the who's on first conundrum. Thank you.